Although they left, everyone knew they were about to face baptism from Fengxian, which just so happened to help Big Boss Minghai, who wanted to take down the powerful Linlan. Once nearly ruling Linlan, Kins was restrained, but Yuanzhi's emergence turned him into a jack of all trades. Subtitle: Yuanzhi's arrival reshuffles Linlan's power, Fengxian's strength soars. Not only is Meiteng Menjai, the ex-boss brother, powerful, he rules Ding great. Subtitles: And we mustn't overlook the knee down 2b7 Yuanzhi, whose leader, Minghai Daowo, is just as formidable as Kins. But as for the GPS, they couldn't gather any more buddies, and their pitch to recruit the trio was a total flop. Even though they admitted that Yuanzhi could beat Kins, they weren't interested in this new kid. For the greater good, Shisheng suggested a coalition between Kins's team and GPS against Fengxian. Yuanzhi, feeling had caused trouble, didn't want to involve others, but this time his energy was amped up. For Fengxian, this was like winning the lottery, and their ambitions were sprouting. The first casualty was Kins's minion, Black Bear. Although Black Bear was unhappy about Fengxian's ambush, he was no match for 2b7, who made him lose face, and Brother Yon wasn't spared either. This time around, Yuanzhi found himself being tested right on the spot, and Brother Yon's situation was looking quite dire as he, already somewhat overconfident or carried away, attempted yet another flashy and unhelpful move. Just yesterday he had challenged the Beast King, Kins, and predictably got wiped out. Meanwhile, Big Boy Minghai from Fengxian is no slouch, leading an attack on Linlan. Not just Brother Young from Kins's crew was ambushed, even Yuanzhi's underling, Mulai, got hit out of nowhere, but he knew better and stopped Cilantro from pulling a knife. He hesitated to keep attacking battered Mulai, but seeing his stubbornness, delivered a final blow. Next day, Yuanzhi's group got the attack news. To gather enough power to fight back against Fengxian, Yuki took matters into his own hands and tracked down Kins, but Kins had never crossed swords with Yuki. Yuki's strength exceeded Kins's expectations, but after all, he faced the Beast King who nearly ruled Linlan and ultimately fell to Kins. For Linlan, he got hurt unexpectedly. He didn't see Yuanzhi as an enemy and didn't go all out. Soon, Yuanzhi understood what Linlan he meant. That evening, Linlan suddenly threw a party, and the fiery scene in the gym left everyone stunned when Shisheng tossed a lighter to Yuan. Everyone suddenly realized this was Fengxian's final warning. Unbeknownst to them, it was Shake's doing, transferred from Linlan. The aim was to escalate the conflict. Minghai noticed Yuanzhi's group had arrived there to issue a formal duel challenge. Next, it's your city, you know what to do. Yet, they still faced an enormous numbers gap, and the trio turned down the offer to join the fight again. Just when everyone was at a loss, Yuanzhi's voice came through the radio, causing all of Linlan to stop and listen. It was his first heartfelt broadcast to Linlan. He urged Linlan's people to join him in battle, but next day, no one came. The trio mocked Yuanzhi. Their numbers barely reached half of Fengxian's, and when Yuanzhi spoke next, everyone was left speechless. They decided to disband, and Yuanzhi left Linlan. Subtitle: Just as everyone was filled with despair, the Soul Rider who comprehended Yuanzhi finally arrived. Indeed, by this time, Yuanzhi had already embarked alone on the path of dedication, ready to speak solely on behalf of Linlan. Subtitles: He was about to take on the challenge of the bold army all alone. A scene that made countless people's hearts throb with excitement. Yuanzhi bore Linlan's glory alone, barely holding on before being overwhelmed, just as Fengxian officers started mocking him. As Minghai's leader, he said, "You are too young." Sure enough, when they turned back to the battlefield, a black wave of troops suddenly appeared behind Yuanzhi, and it wasn't just Mulai and Yuki coming to assist. Even Kin's crew showed up from afar, with both forces converging into a single, enthusiastic entity. Clearly, they weren't about to let Yuanzhi carry Linlan's name alone. Even Brother Yon, who usually looked down on him, raced to the rescue. At that moment, words were unnecessary. It was just like that. The ultimate showdown between Linlan and Fengxian is about to commence, preceded by Yuanzhi's furious bellow. The battle trumpet sounded officially. Once enemies, Kin's crew and GPS were now cooperating, united by a common goal. Their aim was to escort Yuanzhi to the battlefield, but just as they managed to enter the hallway, the shining bold army suddenly charged in. At that moment, the brothers raced to seize the stairs, and on the second floor, Mila showed off his manly prowess, easily handling all the enemies up there. Just when he was surrounded, Minghai popped out from inside, snacking away. After merely last exhausting defeat, this time he was clearly in peak condition and getting stronger. The second showdown between them was imminent, and Minghai clearly underestimated melee abilities, but hey, he was still the big boss of Fengxian, leading the brawlers. This battle was fierce, and Miele gradually fell behind, earning Minghai's respect. Meanwhile, Yuanzhi and company had already reached the third floor, but a bunch of enemies still awaited them there, so Yuanzhi dashed into the fray to buy time. However, Brother Yon surged out, determined to hold the third floor alone, handing off the foes on the fourth. With Kin's support, they finally made it to the fourth floor, only to find the rooftop passage blocked by a big gold tooth. This is the last battle before the rooftop. Taking down Big Gold Tooth, the brothers secured the hallway entrance, and Jontai became the second-floor warrior. Before the rooftop duel, a challenger appeared, Minghai's strongest madman, Kai Yuandane. Upon learning he was Kin's idol, Kin sent Yuanzhi to fight. Finally, Yuanzhi rushed to the rooftop. Although he was down to low health, Minghai had also been drained by Mulai, and their showdown began. They carried more than just their own lives. They bore the trust of their brothers below. Meanwhile, Kin seemed to be in a tough battle, even getting kicked down the hallway. Just as he thought victory was certain, he saw Kin's rise unharmed, leaving him stunned. The man who once knocked him out with one punch was now immovable. Looking at him, the boxing match was about to be ready. Although he had never fought in a duel before, who knew if he would actually win? Triumphant Kins watched from the rooftop as their exhausting battle neared its end, both knowing the final blow was imminent. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, don't forget to like and share.